When you think about AI in medicine, have you ever wondered what it actually takes for a piece of software to be trusted with your life? It's way, way more than just writing some clever code. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredibly rigorous journey a medical AI has to take before it gets anywhere near a real patient. So let's just ask it straight up. Can an AI really save your life? It's a huge question, right? But the answer, in more and more cases, is a solid yes. Take a look at this. An AI can be trained on, hundreds of thousands of these retinal images. And by doing that, it learns to spot these teeny tiny, subtle signs of diabetic retinopathy, which is a major cause of blindness. And get this, sometimes it's even more accurate than a trained human specialist. This isn't some sci-fi movie. This is happening in clinics right now, and the potential is just immense. Okay, but with that kind of power comes, well, a ton of responsibility, right? So how do we make sure these incredible tools are not just smart, but also safe and reliable and fair for every single person, no matter who they are or where they live? That's the real challenge. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. So to really get a grip on this, let's follow a real-world example from start to finish. We're going to look at the global fight against cervical cancer. It's a perfect case study, honestly, because it's a disease that's largely preventable, and technology could be a total game changer here. And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. We're talking about the fourth most common cancer for women across the globe. But here's the thing, the burden isn't shared equally, not even close. A shocking 85% of deaths occur in low and middle income countries. Why? Because access to basic screening and specialists just isn't there. This is a massive issue of health equity. This massive disparity is why the World Health Organization has set this really ambitious goal. They want to screen 70% of women with a high-performance test by 2030. The end game? To pretty much eliminate cervical cancer. That is a huge, huge goal. And that's exactly where AI could step in and make a real difference. But first things first, you have to give the AI a very, very specific job to do. So yeah, step one, long before you even think about validating code, is you have to nail down the AI's exact mission. You can't just tell it, hey, go find cancer. It doesn't work like that. You have to be way more specific. This whole process is called defining the intended use, and it means developers have to answer some really critical questions. Like, what is this AI actually doing? Is it just flagging an image for a human expert to look at, or is it making the final call, the diagnosis itself? Who's it for? The general population, or just a specific high-risk group? And who's going to use it? A nurse in a small rural clinic, or a specialist in a state-of-the-art hospital? Every single one of those answers completely changes the game. And those answers, they feed directly into figuring out the AI's risk level. Just look at this framework. If an AI is diagnosing a critical condition, boom, it's in the highest risk category, category 4. But if it's just, giving a doctor some info about a non-serious issue, it's way down in the lowest risk category. And it's simple. The higher the risk, the more bulletproof the evidence has to be to prove it's safe. Okay, so the job is defined, the risk is categorized. Now what? Well, now the AI has to go to school. This is the training and testing phase. And honestly, the best way to think about it is just like a human doctor's education. Think about it. You wouldn't let a med student start treating patients after they've read like one textbook, right? Of course not. And it's the exact same principle with AI. It has to go through a whole curriculum, a whole education, and then it has to pass some really tough exams. So this AI education basically breaks down into 3 main steps. First, there's the training set. These are its textbooks. It studies a massive library of images that have already been labeled by experts. Then it takes some practice exams. That's the internal validation set. It's tested on data it's never seen before, which helps it fine-tune what it's learned. And finally, it's time for the final board exam, the external validation set. This is the ultimate test using a completely independent set of data, maybe from different hospitals, different countries even, to prove it really knows its stuff. And this separation between learning and testing, it is absolutely crucial. The training set is for studying. The AI sees that data again and again. But the test set, that's the final exam. It's a one-shot deal. The model has never seen this data before. This is so important because it stops the AI from simply memorizing the answers. It forces it to actually learn the patterns so it can perform accurately on a case it's never, ever encountered. So what's it actually learning to see? Well, it's learning to see patterns in images just like these. These are pathology slides of cervical tissue. It's looking at thousands upon thousands of them, learning the super subtle visual cues that separate healthy cells from precancerous ones. For a human pathologist, this takes years and years of training. The AI has to master that same skill. All right, so our AI has graduated. It passed all its exams, but the journey is far from over. Passing tests in a perfect controlled lab environment is one thing. Now it has to prove it can actually work in the real world, in the messy, unpredictable chaos of a real clinic. And that opens up a whole new can of worms, a whole new set of questions. Is it actually easy to use, or is it just a headache that slows down the nurses? Does it really lead to better patient outcomes? Is it still performing just as well 6 months down the line? And maybe the most important question, are there any unintended consequences? Like, do doctors start getting lazy and just blindly trust what it says? You have to check for all of them.
And that vigilance doesn't just stop once the tool is launched. No way. Just like with new drugs, the AI's performance is constantly watched. It's a process called post-market surveillance. Think of it like a safety net. It's there to catch any weird, unexpected problems or any dips in performance once it's out there being used by thousands of people. It's all about ensuring patient safety for the entire lifespan of the product.
So why? Why go through all this trouble, all these stages, all this testing, this whole incredibly detailed process? It's not just about making a clever piece of code. It's about building something much bigger. It's about building a tool that we can trust to actually help create health equity around the world. And this quote from the WHO, it really hits the nail on the head. It points to a huge challenge. The data we have in healthcare, it's not perfect. It's often got biases baked right into it, reflecting the inequalities that already exist. So if you train an AI only on data from, say, one specific group of people, it might not work nearly as well for someone else. This whole framework we've been talking about is designed to fight that, to make sure the data and the testing are broad and tough enough to handle those differences. And that's exactly why having a standardized global framework is so critical. It means that an AI tool built and trained in, say, North America has to be proven to work just as safely and effectively for patients in Southeast Asia or Sub-Saharan Africa. That is how we make sure that AI becomes a tool that helps close the gaps in healthcare instead of making them even wider. So as these incredibly powerful AI tools become a normal part of our healthcare, the big question we're all left with is this: how do we keep building the right systems, the right oversight, and the right ethical rules to make sure this amazing technology always serves to heal and never to harm? The journey we just walked through, well, it's our best answer yet.